Hello and good morning to everybody who's viewing the stream. This morning I'm speaking with Olga Afanasyeva, who is the Executive Director of the Ukrainian Venture Capital and Private Equity Association. Good morning, Olga.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me. Happy to see
great
you.
to have you on. Great to have you on the stream. How's Kiev this morning?
It's good. It's a little bit cloudy, but that's even better because the last days it was super hot.
Super. Yeah, as we discussed backstage, Wrocław's also very, very beautiful today. So looking good. Yeah. So we're going to touch upon Olga's perspective of the VC industry in the post-COVID environment.
It's very interesting to see what's happening actually, because I know it's trivial to say, but every crisis and every difficult situation is also an opportunity. And I think this is the time for venture capital industry and for technology to demonstrate its power and actually to grow stronger. Of course, there are a lot of companies who, suffered a lot because they did not enough of cash to sustain their activity, or maybe some businesses were ruined, like classical, we were using, like everything related to traveling, to like restaurants and so on. But there are a lot of industries that prove that they are the future, and like every company actually should be technological company, despite of the industry, whether it's something like super offline, the opportunities of technology can be used, like automation or using artificial intelligence in serving customers and so on. So from what we see from venture capital activity is that this is the long game. Like, yes, we have the difficulty during this last month. There is a lot of uncertainty in the next like half a year, or maybe 1 month, or maybe even a year. Like nobody knows, but still, venture capitalists are not looking only like in the time frames of 1 or 2 months or weeks. That's why the activity is still ongoing. And actually, I've read a very interesting report of one of the global law firms that actually the activity of venture capitalists, I think it was in focus mostly on US, is actually more. It was more during this period than like comparing to the previous year, which is very interesting. So basically, the deals are making via Zoom calls or via other like online platforms. I think it was a little bit slowed down for angel investors or maybe family offices, like from those organizations and people who are investing like their own money, and actually it's not their like core businesses, because they're not in a hurry. There are a lot of certain uncertainties, and they want to see where everything is going. So for them, it can be time for just like observing and focusing on their core businesses. But for venture capitalists, especially those on like later stages, like, and especially for like titans, this is the time just like to continue their activity, for actually which they're getting paid. So definitely we see a lot of refocus on supporting the like underrepresented founders, like Black people or female entrepreneurs, which is comforting, like for me personally, because I'm the strong supporter of women in tech and women in venture. So yeah, in short, it's like that.
Mm-hmm. And when we talk about the Ukrainian market, obviously it's where you're most qualified to speak about. What have you is there any insights you can share with us, particularly around the Ukrainian market?
Yeah, well, basically, like during the first weeks and the first months when the situation was like full of uncertainty, many of the investors were spending almost all of their time basically like with their portfolio companies, trying to help those who were reshaping business models, trying to find the sources of financing of their operational activity. This was the main, the main focus at that time. For some, it still continues, but still we have spotted some big deals, like, the rounds. The startups have closed the rounds for like 7 or 9 million. Of course, these were mostly the deals for which negotiations started like sometime before that. But anyway, they did not. They did achieve their aim during the COVID-19 outbreak. For now, is more or less, like reviving. People start having meetings like one-on-one, but also many who are, like more introverts like myself understand that it's fine to have more meetings like online, not, like spending time for traffic and traveling sometimes. Though it's also an essential part of the industry, because most of the teams are international. Most of the funds have also international teams, and they're based like in case of Ukraine, it's usually our country, Kyiv, and Silicon Valley, because many of the funds have like strong connections. Because this is actually like the essence of majority of Ukrainian startups. They usually try to focus on global market, and the primary focus is United States, as well as it's much more easier to like to raise funds when you're on later stages, when you're based in like San Francisco or Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I mean, there is that famous, adage that Silicon Valley is actually built upon the back of Ukrainian developers. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually can be true.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, even from our perspective at the Wolf Summit, we see a tremendous amount of Ukrainian startups applying to attend the event. So some really, really high quality business models that we've seen come out of Ukraine recently.
Yeah, that's very good to hear. Thank you for this compliment towards our ecosystem. And yeah, I've heard a lot about Wolf Summit and about the startups who are planning or winning something at your event, which is great. So yeah, let's encourage everyone to participate in further pitch contests.
And do you mind if I ask you, what's your opinion? Because as you would be aware, many Ukrainian startups relocate to Poland to establish their HQ and incorporate their company. What's your perspective? Do you have anything against that, or do you see it's healthy for the market?
Well, there are two perspectives. From one side, like, it's not really good for a country when the entrepreneurs are leaving it, because the minds are outflowing the country. From the other side, startup business is something which is like in its nature is very international, and it's basically important to grow a company if you're just located in one place and you're not going anywhere and don't having the representative offices or headquarters in like bigger countries and bigger markets. So if they have an opportunity to get capital from acceleration programs, which are a lot and which are open for providing capital and expertise to companies, in particular from Ukraine, as well as from the other countries of the region, or the venture capitalists that give capital to them. So that's fine. I mean, like it depends on which perspective are you looking at. The good thing is that there are still a lot of R&D and developers in Ukraine. I mean, the startups like having the offices in Kyiv or Lviv or Kharkiv, also Dnipro and Odessa, for example, while they have the management team located, for example, in Poland. So there are still strong connection. There is still, like inflow of the capital and in the form of salaries and other expenses to Ukraine. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that it's never, in my opinion, it's not so good if we have like a brain drain from a country, but like you mentioned, if there's still benefits involved whereby the management office is in Poland, but the core business is being operated from Ukraine, whether that's Kiev or Kharkiv, Odessa, etc., then the benefits and disadvantages sort of even out.
Yeah, and also this is the exchange of experience because, like historically, Ukrainians, well, not only Ukrainians in the region, but like still, let's talk about like concrete nations. There are a lot of great developers, strong engineering skills among the young people and older people as well. So this is a strong and essential part for the founder. As well as in like other countries, there are a lot of people who have strong expertise in like marketing, in sales, business development, in some niche sectors like fintech, for example, or some others. So that's good when the like mixed teams are forming because it helps to cover all the essential parts of being a startup. Yeah, like to sell, to build the product, and to distribute it. So that's also something which is very, very good for making actually Eastern Europe and Europe in general stronger, like comparing, for example, to Silicon Valley, which is obviously the leader in the innovation industry in the world.
And if we talk about, maybe you have some insights around VCs at the moment who are looking to raise a new fund. What do you think the impact is going to be between the VC and LP relationship for the rest of this year and certainly 2021?
Well, I from what I see and from what I like started talking to the investors who are raising new funds or who were in the process or plan to step on this road. I think there was a little bit of delay in the process because of the COVID, because still it's more about like relations between people, which is harder to build when you're just online. I mean, in the sense of raising a fund. And also it depends on from whom you want to raise funds. For example, if we're talking about the European institutions or like state development agencies, which can be limited partners for the fund, they are more or less, like continuing their activity and their like communication in more or less the same mode. If we're talking about family offices, for example, like from like Arab countries or from other geographical places, they're in more like silent mode and focusing on their like activities, focus on traditional industries. So in that sense, this process can be like a little bit postponed. So yeah, like I expect that there will be like slightly delays. But I think it's a good opportunity for funds who are raising, like to provide capital to startups, to entrepreneurs who are like from underrepresented like types of founders. Sorry for the repeating of the words, like for female founders or from other minority groups. This is also the good opportunity to raise from the corporates or from other entities who want to show their corporate responsibility in a sense.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point you've made there, that a lot of the assistance throughout the rest of this year and into next is going to come from the corporate side of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's something that is also very important, because actually venture capital industry would not exist without the support and like a lot of spendings from the big corporates and often from the traditional industries. And like slowly we see this change. We see the more and more CVCs are like opening, mostly in the form or like acceleration or like in-house growing the startups, but I believe that soon more like traditional venture capital arms will be opening here.
Absolutely. And if we talk about Ukraine, who are some of the major CVCs that are active on the market there?
Well, in Ukraine, the situation in that sense is still not, like perfect one. The big corporates are looking at startups only, I would say, like in most cases, as a part of their corporate social responsibility and more like PR activities. They want to show that they're like paying attention to innovation and so on. But still, we have the good example of, for example, the company DTAC, which is from energy sector, something which is close to you, probably. So they're supporting a lot of companies, a lot of startups, as well as innovation activities, which we do in particular in UVCA, in Ukrainian Venture Capital and Private Equity Association, which is also very important to do. Who else? Yeah, maybe like mobile carriers. They try to do some activities. Couple of banks, but still they're like slowly touching the ground, trying to see what is happening, how everything is functioning here. So it's like under development, I would say.
So room for growth is what is the takeaway.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. So have you got, in your personal schedule, how does the next few months look for you? Are you holding any further speaking engagements, any large events that you'll be attending, or?
Well, I mostly shifted online. We still work from home office. I don't want to risk with like commuting to work for my employees. So I'm trying to still continue this quarantine lifestyle, which is actually super busy, unexpectedly. Yeah, I plan to like visit some like conferences, like Collision, for example. I think it will be like next week.
Next week,
yeah. It
yeah.
promises
I'm curious
to be. Yeah, it promises to be very, very big. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that's going to look, because it's pretty much, certainly for the last few months, it's going to be the largest startup investor event globally. So, very curious to see how it will perform.
Yeah, and the most interesting part is to see how networking will be taking place, because this is something that is mostly interesting at such big events. Like, speeches of speakers are good, but still you want to meet people, you want to like to grow your network and see how it's going in different countries. So let's see. I also we also have several online events scheduled with UVCA for our members, as well as my colleague and me. We launched the project called VC Chatroom, which is the like real-time vlogs, and basically the main product currently is the YouTube channel, where I invite investors from all over the world, and we chat about like the new normality, how it all will be or actually is shaping, which industries will be like promising and popular. So this is something I'm also involved during the last times.
Super. No, it sounds like a wonderful initiative, and I've indeed checked it out just before we went on stream. So
subscribe.
Great to see. Yeah, it's great to see. These. I think the whole situation has, it's allowed people to be more creative around what we can hope to achieve virtually. And I think, indeed, 12 months from now, the whole landscape is going to look a hell of a lot different to how it was at this point last year. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It seems like everything, like I see that some people still think that everything will go back on track, but actually no, like the small things are changing. You don't feel them, but like within a year, we will see how it all, different from what it was in March.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the virtual offerings are going to be very much a permanent feature, you know, in the event space. So I can't imagine going back to how things were at the end of, you know, end of last year at all. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, well, Olga, it's been very, very great having you on the stream today with me. So thank you for your time and your insights, and best of luck.
Thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure to talk to you too. Have a good day and event.
Wonderful. Thank you, Olga, and we'll be in touch.